Hey everybody, it's your girl Larissa. Welcome back to Beauty and Brains. It's been a minute since I've actually posted something on here. I've honestly just been really focusing on building my Instagram following and content and getting good with that. And so I'm like, after I get that all done and everything like that, I'll just, start to come back to YouTube. So here I am. But you guys, I did something so crazy, I can't believe it. I never ever would have thought in a million years that I would be at this point, but today we're going to be talking about how to step into your purpose. I don't have all of the answers, but what I will say is I've definitely been making strides to do that over the past year, and I just wanted to personally share with you the steps that I took, the things that I've done, the leaps of faith that I've done to really get to this point. Sorry, I'll stop messing with my hair. I just want to make sure it's good. Stepping into your purpose obviously looks so different. It just looks different for every single person, right? And I'm just gonna start with my story. So what I wanted to share with you all today is that I have decided to quit my 9 to 5. I am 28 years old and I've been in this company for close to 6 years, but I've moved up pretty much every year or every 2 years, eventually basically creating my own role within the organization and building a whole diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and strategy ground up alongside with my current manager. And so, throughout that, I really found a passion of helping people. I not only help manage the diversity work that we do, but I also help manage the well-being work that we do. So really creating like well-being programming that really support the physical, financial, emotional, and social wellness of our employees. Anyways, I didn't come to lecture you, but yeah, so I guess I kind of came to a space where I kind of have this, I always describe to people that I have this like two different worlds going on that both are actually thriving and doing really well. I have the corporate side of me, more business, corporate mindset, strategic mindset of creating strategies, connecting with our VPs and our executive and doing presentations and trainings and facilitating orientation among a billion jillion over things like logistical items. And then I have more of my creative artsy side, which includes modeling, it includes more entrepreneurship, it includes more creativity and stuff like that. And both are kind of thriving right now, and I feel like I came to a point where I'm like, Larissa, you gotta make a decision. And it wasn't until my best friend Capricia, she had a heart-to-heart with me. She was like, you know what, Larissa, like, you are deciding to relocate eventually, and I think it's time to actually close the chapter as well with this organization too. And so I've been really thinking and praying and asking God, like, God, is this really what you want me to do? How do you see, this unfolding? And I received a confirmation, like, he was like, yeah, Larissa, it's time. It's time for you to take that big step, and you have to trust me. You have to trust that I know what I'm doing here. You don't gotta worry about the money. You don't gotta worry about what you're gonna eat. You don't gotta worry about all that stuff. But what you do have to worry about is being obedient to me and taking that leap of faith, because that is where you are going to discover the next big plan or the purpose that I truly have for you. For you. And so I did it, you guys. So today I talked to my manager, and I was so nervous, and we have a really good relationship and I trust her a lot. And so I felt really good about bringing this up to her because I've been keeping her updated, and I always like to stay transparent and open and upfront and honest. I received a lot of support, and she told her manager, and she was very supportive. And basically, y'all, I'm just betting on myself. I'm betting on myself. And some of the other thought processes that I had was, you know, number one, Larissa, you've been doing excellent at climbing up the corporate ladder. You know, you negotiated your pay, and really applied yourself and used your brains to get to where you are now. But what are your other goals? Does that match up with where you envision yourself long term? So that was going through my head. Another thing that was going through my head was, you know, I was like, okay, well, me still being fairly young, with a lot of potential, with a lot of these skills, what would happen, Larissa, if you really applied yourself like you do this job full time, and applied yourself to something where it's under your terms, or you are really doing something that you are truly passionate about to help others and help others' well-being, and step further into more of the art entrepreneur space? What would that actually look like if you applied yourself full time though? Like, you have to make yourself available to actually get those opportunities or design this new environment. You have to make yourself available. But how beautiful would that be to see you prosper and step into your purpose and build something ground up, knowing that you already built something ground up at this organization, right? The last thing that was kind of going through my mind, that was like, you know what, yeah, like, just go ahead and try it. Like, Larissa, you're crazy, but try it. Is like, our 9-to-5s will always be there. There will always be a awesome company that's looking for spectacular talent that could help move and shift and grow their organization and meet their ROIs or their KPIs. There will literally always be a space. There's billions, not billions maybe, but millions and millions of organizations that are always looking for talent. So why not take the risk right now to invest in yourself? And then if it fails, girl, you got all the skills. You've been in this DEI space specifically, and well-being space for 2 years, but you've had, you know, close to 6 years of corporate experience. I mean, that's nothing compared to maybe people that have been in these spaces for 12, 15, 20 years, but you did that, and you have to take that into consideration and really, you know, understand that you are part of a culture change and you shifted a culture. So a lot of people are gonna want those type of people that have the evidence and the facts to be in their organization. So those were all of the things that was really going through my mind, y'all. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and try it. I feel like this is crazy, but I also know that people like my best friend Capricia, she went out and she's running her own business, and her whole family is all self-employed. And I know a lot of people that are like me, that are more full-time job and kind of full-time entrepreneur, or half and half like myself, but haven't made that leap yet, you know, to go all the way. But if I can learn from other people that's been in my situations and then just go for it, what do you have to lose? You know? So I'm excited, but I'm so scared. This video might be a little long because, like I said at the beginning, I want to help you all out. If you are in the same position as me, or if you're kind of hesitating on whether or not you should make that big leap, I really want to help you out here. I'm kind of spitballing. I don't have anything written down in my notes like I usually do. I want to be real with you and just really share with you the things that I did, and the things that I think that you should also consider if you're trying to make this leap. So number one, I just want to first, right off the bat, say that we are all on different journeys. We are all individual people, which naturally means that we all think differently, we move differently, we process differently. So what works for me is not going to work for you. What worked for them is not going to work for me. So I want you to give yourself grace in knowing that we all have steps that we need to take in order to get to the place that we need or feel like we need or want to be. I think the most important thing is listening to your body, and then also listening to your goals and your priorities in life. Now, would I have this much flexibility to drop everything and venture off into a new career if I had children? It will probably be a little bit more challenging, or I might delay a little bit so that I have way more money saved up in order to provide for myself and especially for my children. So again, we all have different life challenges or responsibilities that we deal with. And so I just want to say that I'm single, I have no children, so I really don't have anything to take care of but myself and my sisters and my family members, but for the most part, no full-time responsibilities yet. I think the biggest thing when it comes to understanding where you're at in life is really by drilling down those different goals that you have for yourself. So with that being said, I want you to take a piece of paper, and you can pause this, you can we can talk like this, I might be going a little bit fast, so I don't want to talk too fast and not give you an opportunity to write. So know that you can always come back to this a little bit later. But I want you to write down, what are some of your short-term goals and what are some of your long-term goals. And one of the things that I specifically have been praying for lately is, God, please challenge me to think bigger. Like, what I want in life is probably something that is completely opposite or way bigger than I ever imagined. And then boom, here I am today. So I want you to make sure that you are thinking bigger. Like, maybe you want to, maybe you want to start a cook show. You might be thinking like, oh, I just want to start a YouTube channel showing, where I cook. Okay, cool. That might be a good short-term goal. But the long-term goal is, no, I want to have a TV show on Food Network, and I want to have millions and millions of viewers that align with my purpose and that are genuine in the things that I want to cook. And I want to educate people through my cooking by selling cookbooks and having it sold in Target. So you get what I mean? Like, think big. Life is short, but it's also long, depending on your perspective. Half glass empty, half glass full thing. So if you're gonna do it, do it. Go all the way and be committed and think big. There is literally the aim for the moon. You might land on the stars. You might land on that star right next to the moon, or you might land on the star higher than the moon. So I challenge you to really think big. What are some short-term goals? Something that you can control in your present situation, from 3 to 6 months now. Maybe it's, I really want to get more involved into networking opportunities and build my Instagram following. That's easy that you can do. All it is to Instagram is being innovative, true to you, and consistent. The people who are gonna follow you are gonna like you for you. They're not gonna like you because, of all this fancy stuff that they promote, but you gotta be authentic to you. And then maybe a long-term goal, a year or 2 to 5 years from now is, I envision myself being self-employed or running a entrepreneurial business, or selling X, Y, and Z, or selling this many copies of this. The goal is to really get that long-term in your mind every single day. So what I do, from personal example, let me grab it for you. Guys, I literally write in this book every single day. And it really is just aligning with my goals. Like I watch Bible verses or read Bible verses. I really reflect on the way that I'm feeling. You know, just making my priority list, like everything in here. Out of sight, out of mind. So if you don't keep your goals in mind, it's gonna be a little challenging for you to actually achieve them because they're out of your sight. So insight could look different. It doesn't have to be journaling. Not everyone's writers. People hate writing and people hate reading, and that's okay. But maybe it's making a routine to pray every day. It's a routine of doing meditation so that you can meditate specifically on what you want to achieve. But my recommendation is really taking a moment to really write down what are your goals, and then like reminding yourself of those things every single day, and really writing down affirmations, because they do work. Whatever we think, it literally manifests. We can go on and on and on and on about that in another chapter, but we're gonna keep moving on. Now, after you have, we talked about this a little bit before, but after you have determined what are your goals, what are the metrics, what is whatever you want to create in the future, it's time to be consistent and committed. Commitment is hard because what happens in our society today is sometimes when we don't have a certain amount of likes, we don't have a certain amount of views, we get down on ourselves and we beat ourselves up and we feel like we're not good enough, and this girl or this man or them, she, her, you know, they getting all the love, so we feel like we don't got enough love. But that's not true. It's not true. Go back to my first point that we are on our own journeys, okay? We are on our own journey. So I want you to challenge yourself to stay committed. So one thing, like I said, one short term of mine was to specifically focus on my Instagram following. Specifically growing my audience so that they know that I'm passionate about two things that I really want to kind of get across. Number one, modeling, which is what people kind of already have known me for on public social media. But number two, wellness. So I started to kind of go back to my website and I revamped, you know, a lot of things, and I started to create a couple more blogs. So I'm like, well, that's an easy thing that I can just start to promote is the blogs that I create, and then have some engagement. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I actually combine wellness and modeling together? Because I don't want to just do modeling in itself. I think that'd be awesome if I take off and do that completely full time. But I also want to have an element of wellness where I'm really helping people design the best version of themselves, because I think it's extremely important for people to love themselves, and I want to help be a bridge and providing some resources to help people do that. And so I'm like, all right, well, what if I take some pictures, but then also use that to help promote my blog? So creating a narrative where I'm including both. And I'm finally getting to a place where I'm knowing how to do that and being creative, wearing pink wigs. Like, people are like, what is she doing? Like, why is she wearing a pink wig? Trust the process, okay? Like 5 years from now, it'll make sense. And so it's little things like that where you just got to be consistent. And I gave up trying to create content to specifically please everyone. However, I think it's important to create content and be mindful of what your audiences are actually enjoying. So what are they commenting on when you're creating polls and you're creating question stickers on Instagram? What are they actually saying, and how can you curate content that's still meaningful for those audiences? And so I specifically focus on that. And now that I'm getting a good vibe on that, I'm gonna go back over to TikTok. I'm not as consistent in TikTok, but I think creating a narrative of modeling and wellness can go well there as well. And I guess my point is, something that really helped me to be more consistent is by creating a calendar. I learned this from Nazare, who is, or Naz, who is a brand, a strategist, is that how you say that? Brand, I don't she helps people with their brand and really growing their audiences and everything like that. And so I learned this from her, and just creating like a calendar where you can literally plop in like, all right, I'm gonna post this here, I'm gonna post this here, and I'm gonna post this here. And then if you don't have any content, look honey, you're gonna have to be creative. But don't just post anything. Make sure it's always tying to your purpose and having a call to action. So sometimes it's nice to post those lifestyle pictures. I love lifestyle, like, you know, mixing some of the more personal, everyday things. But just know that, you know, whenever you do post, your brand is on Instagram. Like, everyone asks, what's your Instagram? Modeling agencies, what's your Instagram? And so if your Instagram isn't reflecting what you're trying to do, people, you may not get the results or the outcome that you actually want. People are going to notice you because you are going to be consistent. And also just being creative. If anything, Nas taught me, she said, you know, diversify your content, diversify your content. So try this, try this, try this. You know, people love something different. All right. One of the last tips that I will share is going to probably not be as tangible as some of the other things, but more internal. I would recommend that you need to trust yourself. Trust the spirit, trust God, whatever you trust, want to trust in. Trust that you have to follow your heart. Okay? Follow your heart. If anything, a lot of my loved ones have taught me it's so powerful, it's so important to follow your heart. Sometimes, you know, I had a conversation about this with my manager, and we were just talking about life in general, but like, we feel like we have to always fall into these societal steps. And I think more and more now, especially the younger generation, isn't going with the flow like that as maybe people in my generation and older. But I think it's so important to challenge. Why are you going to school? What are you actually going for? Why am I doing this job? Is it really fulfilling me? Really questioning that inner voice. And then trusting that if you have a feeling to do something different, don't go the opposite. No, honey, we need you to go towards that feeling. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel uncertain. But we know that with uncomfortable, uncertain situations, with faith and trust, following your gut and your heart always leads to better. And that's what I believe. That's what I 100% believe. However you like to embody your spirit and your heart, I'm with you. I'm praying for you, and I believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. Yes, that person might be prettier. That person might have more followers, or he might have all the sneakers, and she or he might have all the money in the world, or they might have, you know, all these cars, but guess what? They not you. Just because someone did similar things or moved to the same places, or if you and him and them got the same music genre, you guys, I just got off of work, so it doesn't mean that you won't be successful. Picture how many like softwares and companies that sell journals and like, but guess what? They're all getting support. So you have to believe that your brand, your business, you as a person embodying who you are, you will prosper. And you have to believe that. Once you start to believe that, everyone else will believe that. And even if they don't, it's still important that you believe it, okay? So have faith, trust the process, be committed, be consistent, and just know that your lane is your lane, okay? So, like I said, I'm here for you. I'm praying for you. I'm so excited for you. You can learn from me. I always hope to be an example before I ever preach anything. Anything that you see me post, I'm always going to do it before I post it. So another thing, last thing, I promise, I know this is a very long episode today, but as you can see, I kind of talk a lot sometimes. What was I gonna say? Oh, that's what I was gonna say, yes. Move in silence. I don't know about you, but there's two things that go in my mind. Number one, I'm like, before I post it, I gotta make sure I actually do it. Because if I just post it, you know, I don't want to let people down if they're really looking forward to me executing it. And I don't want to let myself down. Move in silence. Do it first. Celebrate after on social media, with your friends, whatever. Make the decision first. Tell people later. Depending on what it is, you may have to consult, but you gotta say, sometimes my mind is already made up. Okay? Okay. So do it first, post later if you're a big social media announcer, but nowadays it's like we have to let people know kind of what's going on so that you can get clients, or you can get people like, oh sis, I want to hook up with you, you know? And so, yes, you got this. What you post, what you do today will reflect 5 years from now. What you did 5 years ago reflects today. So keep that in mind. I love you so much. Thank you for taking the time. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I love you so much.